Hello, Abraham. It is delightful to have this opportunity again. As usual, there are many things running through my head. I recently had the privilege of purchasing a home, and I have thoroughly enjoyed the ebb and flow of experiences from other people. I was surprised a little bit of some pettiness, some jealousy, some joy, some encouragement. There have been things that have come to mind to me, come to my awareness, that I didn't either see or wasn't allowing in until this experience.
It's always true, isn't it?
Yes.
Because every time you receive new manifestation, you have a whole new set of contrasting experiences, which gives you a whole new insight. The whole world changes.
Exactly why I purchased the home, to push me into a place of experiencing things I wouldn't have otherwise.
Good.
Which is the same reason to allow the ebb and flow of people getting close to me in my life.
Yes.
You know, a partner or a different friendship, etc.
Yes, it's easier to keep your balance if you're standing all alone.
I kind of like that. Hence my question. I've noticed there are actually two questions. I'm going to just layer them together. You figure it out. First, I've noticed that there are times when I spend a lot of time yelling at the walls. I am expressing myself in anger, and I get a thrill, a hit, off of that adrenaline rush of yelling at the walls, playing scenarios in my head of something that didn't turn out in real life the way I liked it. I didn't say what I wanted, the person dumped on me, it was an emotional vampire, etc., etc. So at home, I'm yelling at the walls, doing it all over again, but feeling better. I feel addicted to that. Now, help me realize what I need to be aware of. What do I need to allow to wean myself off of this?
Well, the most important thing we want to give you about this is that law of attraction is a very powerful thing. And the reason that those screamings feel satisfying in that moment is because that action and those words are a perfect vibrational match to the dominant vibration that is within you in that moment. In other words, that's how you feel.
Most of the time?
Well, do you yell most of the time? Is this what you're doing most of the time? In other words, in that moment that's happening, that's where your vibration is. And so those are the thoughts and the behaviors that are the best vibrational match to where you are in that moment.
Yes.
And, of course, you know, the disadvantage of holding yourself there, we think it's the reason for your question, is that the more you hold yourself there, the more you prepave or set up future experiences to hold the same content.
Yes.
Many people understand this. Everybody has some of this to some degree. And the reason that we are happy to address it here is because we want you to give yourself a break by understanding that law of attraction is a very powerful thing, and that when you stand in any moment in time and you are feeling the way you're feeling in response to something that has happened, you are offering a vibration that is reaching to the far corners of the universe into past, present, and future vibrational arenas, and those are the thoughts and memories and possibilities that in that moment you have most access to. It's like going into one of those high security places where they give you an access card that you swipe through a reader. And your access card has been particularly coded to give the specifics of who you are access into different parts of the facility. And so you can't go everywhere in this facility because you have not been approved for it by whoever approves these things. And so you have a sort of access card like that. It's like going to the librarian of life and saying to her, I would like a book on perfect mate and living happily ever after and having lots of money. And she swipes your card and says, I can give you head banging, piercing of body parts, and tragic accidents in traffic. And you say, no, this is not what I'm wanting. And she says, well, this is what your card is reading right now. And what we're wanting to say to you is, don't beat up on yourself about whatever your card is reading. Whatever your card is reading right now is in response to what you've been observing and what you've been thinking about. And the thing that we want you to hear is that it is, at least for now, your point of attraction. Now, you've been a student of deliberate creation for some time.
Yes.
And you are doing something that a lot of people do. You're beating up on yourself for every thought that you hold that you feel is not the perfect thought. In other words,
Well,
we see our physical friends. You have a thought or you start to say something and you catch yourself right in the middle of your negative expression and then you say, oh, cancel, cancel. You try to suck it back in before the universe gets a chance to get hold of it. And so you're sort of in the privacy of your own room having your little hissy fit when you realize you can't suck it back in. And what we're wanting to say to you is, do not be upset with yourself, because where you are, you have this range of vibration. And whatever has happened that you've focused upon for as little as 17 seconds has you reverberating within this range of vibration. And let's say in this example, because of something that happened, somebody, as you said, dumped on you, or somebody tried to suck the life out of you relative to some subject. You're here, and let's say that the range of your vibration goes somewhere from deep, deep depression. That's not the best label for you, but we're making all of this up anyway for point of... We're exaggerating it.
Oh.
Deep, deep depression to mild rage. In other words, that's your range.
Mild, it's sometimes intense.
Well, that's the deep, deep depression part. In other words, the intense rage and the deep depression are all back there in the same sort of vibration. And then it gets a little less intense. But, but that's your range.
Yes.
Off the wall, rage to milder rage. And so when you are swiping your access card and saying, give me some light and fluffy thought about living happily ever after, you just don't have access to that, because this is where your range is. And
access denied.
So sometimes not by the universe, not by the keeper, not by the librarian, as in our analogy, access denied by you, because in this moment you're not letting it in. But the thing that we want to give you about this is, don't be hard on yourself about not letting it in, because it's pretty impossible to let it in when you've been focusing on this other stuff, because law of attraction is so powerful. That's the strongest message that we're wanting to give to you. That's like saying to yourself, well, here's this hill, and it's about a 45-degree angle, and I've got this car that weighs 6,000 pounds, and the engine isn't running, and I'm going to push it up to the top of that hill. And we say, you're probably not going to do that. In other words, and it doesn't mean that you're defective. It means that what you're attempting to do is define the laws of physics of your world. And so the same sort of thing happens here. Don't ask yourself to reach for a thought over there when you don't have access to it. Give yourself a break. And we think that screaming fit is a sort of unconscious recognition of that, because the reason that you feel better in it is because you sort of stop the struggle within it. You bang on the walls, you yell and scream, you recognize that you're not where you want to be. You play it out to the absurd, and there is a sort of releasing within that, and then sometimes you can change the subject more easily.